Good evening, Mount Pleasant area, and welcome to an exciting night of something new, a varsity wrestling match. Tonight we are broadcasting live the section playoff match between Mount Pleasant area and Summit Academy. They already faced each other earlier in the year and ended up in Mount Pleasant's favor.
Yes, Alex. Hopefully we can see that same kind of success tonight. The varsity team is coached by Zach Snyder, along with assistant coaches Marvin Snyder and Josh Bull.
And we're now turning it over to Mike Gokowski.
At this time, would you please rise and welcome Chloe Gokowski for the singing of our national anthem. Gentlemen, please remove your hats, and veterans, you are encouraged to salute the flag. Okay, for tonight's lineup, tonight's match will start at the 132-pound weight class. At 132 for the Mount Pleasant Vikings, Lucas Shawless. At 138 for Summit Academy, Christian Hernandez. At 145 for Summit Academy, Jameer Griffin. For the Vikings, Nathan Kowalski or Jake Levanowski. 152 for Summit Academy, Logan Brunner. For the Vikings, Kyle Jones. Summit Academy, 160, Damian Strausberger. Brewer. For Summit Academy at 170, Devin Jordan or Shaquincy Smart Johnson. For the Vikings, Jack Kramer. At 182, Summit Academy, Demetrius Murphy or Terry Mosby. Summit Academy, Ismael Carmelo Lopez. Vikings, Jacob Proctor. 220, 120, Summit, Philip Morales. Vikings, Tristan Seawalsh. At 126, for the Vikings, Damian George. Good luck, gentlemen.
What should we say? The teams meet up at center circle.
We have the team captains meeting up at the center circle for the Mount Pleasant Vikings and Summit Academy. Looks like we will start off with Lucas Shawless for the Mount Pleasant Vikings.
And that also means we're starting out at weight class 132. So Mackenzie, how you feeling about tonight?
This should be an exciting match and something new for us to do, so we shall see how it goes.
I definitely agree. Before the match started, we were going to
Looks
mention...
like Lucas Shawless at 132 gets a forfeit.
That brings the score up to Mount Pleasant 6, Summit Academy 0. Next up, in weight class 138, we have Noah Ganibis going against Christian Hernandez.
And the match begins. Looks like Noah goes for a shot and it gets a takedown. That is 2 points for the Mount Pleasant Vikings. Hopefully Noah can get as many back points as he can, but it looks like Summit Academy flipped over. Looks like Noah Ganibis got 2 back points for that.
And if you're new to wrestling and viewing, Mount Pleasant tonight is green and Summit Academy is red. It's so quiet in here.
Noah Ganibis just needs to work his opponent on the bottom, see if he can flip him on his back, and it looks like he is able to do that. And Noah Ganibis gets a pin.
That's the second pin for the night. Well, second set of points for the night for Mount Pleasant. Bringing up to Mount Pleasant 12, Summit 0.
Looks like Nathan Kabuski is next, and that means the weight class is 145, and he will be wrestling Jameer Griffin from Summit Academy.
So Mackenzie, how are you feeling so far about tonight? We're doing pretty good.
I feel like we have a strong lead. Let's see if Mount Pleasant can keep it up through the whole entire match. And the match begins between the 145-pounders. Nathan Kabuski is actually new to wrestling, so we shall see how he does in his first playoff match.
And the coaches have been really good with encouraging and helping all the boys out, making sure they get lots of one-on-one time to improve and strengthen the fundamentals. They're both still opposing each other, but Nathan makes the first move.
Looks like Nathan Kabuski. That remained neutral. That's good for Nathan Kabuski. He stayed under the radar with that one.
With about a little less than a minute and a half left in this period, both wrestlers still are in the neutral position.
That was really unusual for Nathan Kabuski. He usually waits until his opponent makes the first move and he kind of capitalizes on it. But for a new wrestler, I guess you got to try new stuff, so he went for the first move.
It appears maybe that's the other wrestler's strategy too, because neither seem to be making the first strong move, choosing instead of staying in the neutral position. You might want to turn the mic out. And yet, with almost 30 seconds left in the first period, we are still in the neutral position, but Summit just took the first move.
Hopefully Nathan Kabuski can keep his arms together, but it looks like Nathan Kabuski is on the bottom now. He did get flipped.
No points have been awarded yet. And 2 points just went to Summit. Oh, sorry, Summit.
Looks like they went out of bounds. They will meet in the center circle with Nathan Kabuski on bottom and Summit on top.
And it seems the ref was explaining to Summit to move a little bit, and it starts once more. Nathan avoiding being on his back with about 4 seconds left in the period.
Looks like Nathan Kabuski escapes that. That is a point for Mount Pleasant.
And the first period just ended with point totals being 2 for Summit and 1 for Mount Pleasant.
That is definitely encouraging for Nathan Kabuski since he is a new wrestler. Looks like Nathan Kabuski is on top now and Summit on the bottom. And it looks like Nathan Kabuski is having control of him, trying to flip him over, trying to get as much back points as he can or even a pin. Just trying to roll him, but it looks like Nathan Kabuski is stuck in the bottom position. We shall see.
Nathan was able to turn over the move, going out on top with someone on the bottom.
Nathan should get back points definitely for that move. See if Nathan can capitalize more on his back points. Nathan Kabuski gets awarded 3 back points. Nathan Kabuski also tries to go for a shot, but it looks like he was a little too low. See if Nathan Kabuski now trying to get out of Summit's possession.
And Summit was awarded a point with that. Nathan Kabuski is still on the bottom while Summit is on top, maintaining control.
Nathan Kabuski just needs to keep his head up and not towards the mat and try to stand up and escape at the same time. He cannot get flipped.
He's holding strong with about 30 seconds left in the second period. Summit was able to get hold of a leg to gain more control. Almost went out of bounds, but
Nathan Kabuski tries going for the attack, but actually gets put on his back. See if Nathan Kabuski can flip out of this. He needs to flip.
He's holding tight, putting all his effort into not going with about 7 seconds left. And he was able to get onto his knees away from his back with 2 seconds left in the period.
Summit gets awarded 3 points for back points. That makes the score Summit 8, Mount Pleasant 4.
Pretty different from the start of the round being at a stalemate and neutral position for a good half of the beginning first period. But it seems Summit takes action after the first move starts.
I definitely agree. I think they both have the same mentality, trying to wait for the other opponent, but somebody got to take the first shot. Nathan Kabuski is now on top. He can't release Summit or they will get a point. Nathan Kabuski remains control. He needs to try to flip him as soon as possible.
And it looks like Summit's going on the bottom while Nathan Kabuski's taking top position.
Looks like a foul was called, an illegal holding of the head. Nathan Kabuski cannot let him stand up, and he still remains control of him, but Summit's getting up tall. Nathan Kabuski needs to at least trip him or keep him on the mat or drive out of bounds, but Nathan Kabuski cannot hold on, and Summit escapes.
So both wrestlers are now in standing position and in neutral position in the center of the mat. And again, we're seeing what we saw in the first period, where both opponents choose to stay in the neutral position.
Nathan tries a shot there, but gets denied. But Nathan gets control of the legs.
But
Nathan needs to stand up with them, but they drive out of bounds.
Nathan takes the first shot with about 51 seconds left in the third period, with Summit up by 5. And once more, we are seeing this neutral position between the two.
Nathan Gabuski takes another shot, but it doesn't look like he got the full leg. He's still in position. Hopefully he can keep control of that leg.
About 15 seconds left in the third period.
But Summit gets a reversal and gets awarded 2 points. Nathan Gabuski needs to try to stand up.
And the period is over, showing the end of that match. The end of that match was 11 Summit, Mount Pleasant 4, giving the win to Summit, adding 6 points to them. Actually, no, adding 3 points. 3 points? 3 points? I think it's 3 points. Anyways, next up we have in the 152 weight bracket, Kyle Jones from Mount Pleasant and Logan Bruner from Summit. The team score sits at Mount Pleasant 12, Summit 3. He's short.
Starts the match of the 152 pounders. Kyle Jones playing with his hands, tries to drag Summit in, tries to get him on the ground, but his move does not work. They remain in neutral position. Kyle tries that over the head, trying to pull him in every time to drag him to the ground, but it doesn't look like it's working against this kid, so he goes for a shot, slams him for 2 points. Kyle Jones needs to remain on top, but they roll out of bounds.
Kyle Jones has been wrestling for quite a while, so it's no surprise he has more aggressive, straightforward approach to his strategy. And we're starting, it appears, with Summit on the bottom and Kyle taking top position.
Hopefully Kyle can keep him on the ground and at least get as many back points as he can, just not let him up on his feet. Summit was pretty quick, but Kyle Jones was even quicker with the takedown. Kyle Jones now riding on top, trying to flip the kid. Hopefully Kyle Jones does not get too high where the kid can just roll out.
But it looks like Kyle is maintaining that, trying to get an arm around his shoulder.
Kyle Jones, now that's a reversal. Looks like Kyle Jones, but he tries grabbing the leg, but Kyle Jones, and now still in Summit's possession. Now has Kyle Jones tries rolling, but it looks like he's on his back, but flips, and he gets out of bounds.
Kyle Jones was pretty close to a pin there from Summit, but was able to maintain it, stay out of it, and get out of bounds. And it looks like we're doing this in the referee's position. Kyle Jones is taking the bottom, and Summit is taking the top.
Kyle Jones almost gets out of it.
He was able to stand up quickly, which was good to his advantage.
He actually did get an escape, and Kyle Jones trips Summit now on his back.
And the ref counts it as a pin. With that pin brought to you by Kyle Jones, that adds 6 points to the team score.
Looks like now we have 160 pounder Patrick Brewer and Damian Schwartzberg.
And to start, we are still both in the neutral position. But
Patrick
Brewer
Brewer.
goes for the first shot. Sorry.
Gets a takedown. That will be 2 points awarded. Patrick trying with the cross face, trying to roll him, get him into a cradle, and it looks like he's there. Gets him on his back, and that should be a pin. And that is a pin for Mount Pleasant Vikings, Patrick Brewer for the 160 pounders.
And once more with another pin, and that pin was in more than 2 minutes left on the clock in the first period, but 6 more points Mount Pleasant with that pin.
Looks like we are on to the 170 pounders with Jack Kramer and Shinsky Smart Johnson.
And the wrestlers shake hands. And it looks like Kramer took the first shot, more aggressive shot against Smart Johnson. Seems like they're awfully close to being out of bounds already. And they were called out of bounds.
Now you can.
And if you didn't hear us before, my apologies for any technical difficulties. You can still hear us though, so I guess that's what counts.
Looks like Jack Kramer and Smart Johnson still haven't not gotten any points, so they remain neutral. Jack Kramer cannot release part of that arm or leg, or Jack Kramer will be in the bottom position.
And the ref called it for a stalemate, so they were starting once more. Oh.
Looks like they were both going for the first shot there, but both got turned down. Kramer.
I feel like we're heading into another stalemate eventually soon.
Looks like Smart Johnson.
And
As you can see, we are back up, and it looks like, as you can see, this. But Jack Kramer.
Never mind, we're gone again.
Sorry for the technical difficulties again.
No.
Jack Kramer and Smart Johnson still are in neutral positions. It looks like they were both two tough opponents that can't get a hold of one another.
Two equally matched with less than 30 seconds left in the first period.
But it looks
But
like Smart Johnson gets a point.
he gets 2 points actually. Oh. Flipped himself on his back, was able to maintain that and get up from it. Smart Johnson takes the top position while Kramer's in the bottom.
Kramer just needs to stand up, but his head's on the mat, and that is period.
At the end of the first period, it's Summit 2, Mount Pleasant 0. And for the referee's position, Kramer chose to take the bottom while Summit takes the top.
Which one's loose?
Again, our apologies for technical difficulty.
There's playback.
Oh. Again, our apologies for those technical difficulties, but we're back. Kramer chose to be in the bottom position in the referee's position while Summit took the top, and right now it maintains that with Summit on top, Kramer on bottom.
Summit's still riding on top, but Jack Kramer had an opportunity there. It looks like Summit was a little too high, and now Jack Kramer's trying to get to his feet.
Down the stands? No, he's not on that stand.
Jack Kramer needs to release those hands on the mat again. Kramer hands off of him, and he can stand up cleanly. Jack Kramer finally gets up, and they are starting in neutral positions again.
Kramer did get a point for escape, but it almost looked like Summit let him get up.
I also agree with that, but I also think because Summit knew that they couldn't get any back points or anything from those positions, so they decided to go neutral.
And that worked for Summit because it looks like Summit's taking control once more, staying in top position. Oh, but Kramer goes on top. Gets 2 points for a reversal.
That makes Mount Pleasant ahead 5-3, which is also good.
20 seconds left in the second period.
Looks like they position one more time. Jack Kramer trying to get another 2 points, hopefully.
And our apologies again for any technical difficulties. That was the end of the second period, and it says that Mount Pleasant 5, Summit 3 for this match between Smart Johnson and Kramer.
Okay.
And both wrestlers are still standing in the neutral position, but Kramer goes for the first shot.
Out of position, and it looked like it is on top, but not in full control yet. Jack Kramer with that arm on his leg, on Summit's leg, it doesn't look like Summit can get full control, but Jack Kramer loses a leg, but gets it back.
No points are being called for either.
No one's in control yet. As soon as Jack gets that hand out, Summit can get on top, but Jack's trying to get up. 2 points have been awarded to Summit because he was in control.
And that brings the score tied at 5 with about a minute left in the third period. And Summit almost basically rolls over on his back.
Jack Kramer finally gets out of that. That remains, but
it turned into a reversal for Summit.
Jack Kramer with the leg now, trying to work something. He needs to drive upwards towards Smart Johnson, but Jack Kramer does get a point with it. That brings the score to 8-7. Jack Kramer just needs to remain on top and ride him as long as he can. Waste time off the clock.
There's about less than 30 seconds left in the third period, and Kramer is up by 1 point and has control in top position. Kramer's rolling onto the back.
He will definitely get back points. For that. Looks
and
like Jack Kramer has gotten awarded 3 points, but reversal has happened with Smart Johnson.
Kramer got 2 points for that. Mount Pleasant 10, Summit 9 with 2 seconds left in the period. 1 second. And the match is over.
Looks like Jack Kramer wins that by 1 point.
But a win is a win in wrestling. And that's going to gain 3 points to the overall score for Mount Pleasant.
Is it the connection or just the cord? I don't know. Because we don't this because we need to make sure that this is we have the tag now.
Jacob Proctor will be our next
for the 195. And he will be going against Ismael Carballo Lopez. I literally told her not to do it when she did take a picture. And here comes Summit onto the mat. Again, we apologize for any technical difficulties. I'm not quite sure what's going on the camera. And we're back. The match between Proctor and
Looks like Proctor is in neutral position. Ismail. Looks like Ismail gets 2 points with a takedown. Hopefully Proctor can get up from this and at least get 1 point.
We're going to take a picture. We're going to send it to Belinsky. And we're going to have Belinsky call what's the
Did someone get a forfeit? Because like Heroes of One, we didn't do 182. We don't have a 182.
Then yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to say that then.
By the way, our 182 pounder Dayton Pitzer is out with a hurt knee, so Summit did get a forfeit at the 182, and that was Demetrius Murphy.
But back to this match. Currently, Mount Pleasant is on the ground.
But the score is Summit 4 and Mount Pleasant 2.
Mount Pleasant's very close being pinned right now. Proctor needs to do something quick or it's going to end soon. If anything, definite back points are going to be awarded.
Summit just needs to roll Proctor a little bit more, and Proctor is pinned. Proctor needs to squirm somehow out of this position. And it looks like Summit did get the pin. That was Ismail Carabello Lopez.
And that awards 6 points to Summit, bringing it up to Mount Pleasant 27, Summit 15.
Looks like Ian Fasano will be representing the 220-pounder along with Nicholas Louis. Do you want to say his last name?
No. Will be a fairly even setup. Both opponents are obviously the same weight and same height. They shake hands and the match begins. Both still in the neutral position, but both looking to take the first shot. And it looks like Ian has managed to grab a leg and bring his opponent.
Points for Ian for the Mount Pleasant Vikings. Ian Fasano still riding on top, not letting Nicholas get up. Now Ian's trying to drive him to the side, see if he'll flip over for him.
And again, we apologize for any technical difficulties we've had throughout this live stream. Usually we've never had these issues, but tonight, maybe it's an unlucky Wednesday. But Ian is still maintaining control against his opponent. Sitting on it?
Ian has to make something happen.
Again, apologies for technical difficulties, but we're still here. Ian is still holding the same position over Summit. But it does look like Summit is almost getting up, possibly almost getting escape points, but Ian was able to keep him down.
Ian's trying to drag him to the ground. But Ian Fasano still around his head. Ian Fasano. Ian Fasano tries getting out, but it looks like Summit flips him. Ian Fasano trying to still get up, or at least just drag out of bounds as far as possible. Ian Fasano gets his leg out from Summit's possession. Now on top, and that should be reversal too.
And the ref did call it, but he also called out of bounds. Even though they looked more in the ring than they did earlier in the point, but
If Ian Fasano also got an escape that we missed. Ian Fasano now on top for the Mount Pleasant Vikings, and Nicholas on the bottom for Summit.
as the ref adjusts the position, we start once more. And Ian was able to keep him down.
Ian Fasano looks a little too high on his opponent, but needs to stay on top. Hopefully he can roll him, but he's definitely getting back points right now. Nope. Looks like Nicholas from Summit flipped over, but Ian Fasano got 3 points. Ian Fasano needs to still keep him down on the ground, or at least make something happen. Ian Fasano trying to cradle there, but moves his leg, flips. Ian Fasano trying to work that arm on Nicholas's back, trying to flip him, but that does not work. Ian Fasano goes for the leg. Ian Fasano still rides on top.
Not much is happening. Not many points are being rewarded right now since we're kind of roughly staying in the same position. Ian's still maintaining control on top.
As long as Ian can still maintain control on top, this will be an easy win for him.
Even though there's still one period left, Ian still maintains control and the lead with points. Mount Pleasant being at 8, Summit at 0.
Ian Fasano just needs to roll him. It looks like Ian Fasano is getting a little frustrated with it right now because he cannot get anything started with his opponent from this position, but he knows he doesn't want to let him go. Ian Fasano is still moving around his opponent, trying to get him on his back. Ian's still riding on top pretty much for this whole period.
Oh, and Ian was almost at the end of that. Ian was starting to do something, but time runs out.
Another period.
As we go into the third period, it still sits at Mount Pleasant 8, Summit 0.
It's on. No, we're good. Don't touch it from there. We can just fix it from down here, I really think. Just don't move. Don't move.
And it looks like we're taking a time out for an injury on Ian Fasano, Mount Pleasant's part.
Oh, yeah, no.
I believe it was just a minor cut on his hand, but they're both heading into the referee's position. Ian on bottom, Summit on top.
Well, Marcy did. Marcy just... No, you did.
Ian tries getting out quickly, but Nicholas from Summit is riding him. Ian stands up, needs to just get his hands away from Nicholas's. But Ian rolls over for 2. That's a reversal. But Ian stands up, but the score is still 13-0. But it looks like Nicholas got a point for Summit for an escape. Still in the neutral position. Nicholas tries for a shot at Ian's leg. Ian tries it, staying on top. Looks like Nicholas has it, but Ian gets a reversal in 2. Ian needs just one more takedown with less than a minute left.
Even if someone's able to do something, it's probably not going to be enough to gain any points to have a chance at winning. He might be able to gain more points to avoid adding more to the team points, but at this point...
Ian gets it, his final takedown, and that will end the match at 18-2.
Final score of that match was Ian Fasano 17 for Mount Pleasant, Summit 2. And with that win, it adds 5 points to Mount Pleasant's team score. Mount Pleasant 32, Summit 15. To finish off the heavyweights for Mount Pleasant at 285, we have Colton Zelmore from Mount Pleasant versus William Kern from Summit.
Yep.
And they're both still in the neutral position as we start right away. But they both seem to be taking the aggressive shot to it, trying to get the other on the ground for a takedown.
Colton Zelmore tries pulling it in William Kern to the ground, but did not work in his favor. Colton trying to outmuscle William Kern.
Zelmore and Kern, though, are still standing, though. Neither able to take down the other.
Still in the neutral position, nothing really happening. Good job.
And again, still with about a minute left in the first period, both opponents are still standing. Not much either of them or the ref can do. Oh.
Looks like
Maybe a whistle.
headgear.
I agree, Mackenzie. It looks like a little too much on the headgear. Pulled it down. So that brings them back to the starting point, back to neutral position. And they're holding hands. Simon tried taking a shot but was unable to.
Still both in the neutral position, not being able to take one down.
And the period's probably going to end with not much happening. Oh. And Golden got close to a takedown, but it appears it happened out of bounds. So whistle was blown with 3 seconds left in the first period. Still no points being awarded to either. And we're starting once more. And that's the end of the first period, with neither Kern or Zelmore be able to gain any points.
Looks like Colton Zelmore has a bloody nose or something
He's
bleeding.
seeing the trainer on the sideline. Oh, that's my water. What is he supposed to call it? Side mat? I think made fun of me saying sideline now. Anyways, the injury is over, and Zelmore's back on the mat in the referee's position, choosing to take bottom, while Summit takes top.
Colton Zelmore trying to get up, but it looks like Kern is riding him pretty good.
But Zelmore was able to escape that, getting a point for himself.
That'll be the first point of the first two periods.
Very observant, Mackenzie. But they're back in the neutral position. But it seems we're back to that still. No one take down the other for this match against Zelmore and Kern. My arm. Wait, really?
Still in the neutral position, nobody being able to take anybody down.
It's ASMR. And again, with about 35 seconds left in the second period, Kern and Zelmar are still both standing, still in the neutral position. This is Gambita. It looks like they're both trying to be the more aggressive one, trying to take the first shot, but still, as we've seen in the first period, they're still standing.
Good job, Ian. Still with 2 seconds left, second period, Colton Zelmore with the only point. Hopefully with Colton Zelmore on top, he doesn't let Kern to be able to get up to tie the match. Colton Zelmore rides him.
Even though someone did try to get up, but again, as Mackenzie said, Zelmore was able to hold him and keep him down. With the third period going, and still 1 point Zelmore, 0 for Summit with Kern.
That's what they say for wrestling. Colton Zelmore stays with Kern. Colton Zelmore needs to stay on top.
And with about a little over a minute left for the third period,
Colton Zelmore needs to do something or just remain on top. Cannot let Kern be able to get up.
if he escapes, we're probably going to head into overtime with this match.
Still Colton Zelmore on top.
And it looks like they're nearing the out of bounds with about 30 seconds left in the third period. Still Colton Zelmore with the only point on the board. And it looks like the ref just called stalemate. So that brings him back to the center circle for the starting position. In the referee's position.
Again, Colton Zelmore cannot let Kern get up out of the bottom position, and Colton Zelmore remains on top.
And Colton's able to keep him down. Oh! Simon did have a nice attempt on his escape, but Colton was able to throw him back down. Zelmore still on top with Kern on the bottom with no time left in the third period. And with 1 point, Kern wins that match for Mount Pleasant.
Zelmore!
Oh, sorry.
Zelmore wins the match pretty much by the skin of his teeth. Only by an escape. That's only 1 point.
Mackenzie's very agitated tonight.
She yelled at me. She yelled at me.
And at the end of that match, we are heading back into our lighter weight classes with Lane Gokowski and from Mount Pleasant versus Julius Burgos from Summit Academy Wrestling for 106 weight class. Both wrestlers still stay in the neutral position, but Lane Gokowski is able to take the first shot, but they quickly move out of bounds. And we're back to that starting position. Summit trying to make the first move that time.
Just looking at the height-wise, it looks like Julius is a little bit taller than Lane, but it looks like Lane can get the shots a little bit quicker than Julius can. Lane works his way to the back and gets 2 points.
And that brings us back to the initial starting position. Peter Billy was watching at one point because he messaged me. And it looks like Lane Gokoski from Mount Pleasant is still maintaining control, staying on top of Burgos from Summit. There's a little less than 1 minute left in the first period.
Lane trying to get a cradle win, but looks like he will just remain riding on top.
And it looks like a timeout was called for injury. But this time it is from Summit's side. Our trainer's walking over to him. Sorry, our bad. The headgear's messed up. What, the trainer was there? I've been informed it was the headgear that was causing the problem, even though our trainer was present. And in the referee's position, Summit takes bottom, Mount Pleasant takes top. Lane Gokoski able to keep Burgos down, but not for long. Was able to stand once more, but brings him back down.
We see Julius trying to go out of bounds, but Lane brings him back in towards the center circle. Lane trying to work his hands.
In referee's position again. Someone on bottom, Lane on top.
Looks like Julius got a point for an escape, and Lane Gokoski rolls him over, but Julius rolls right back over on his stomach.
Lane trying his best, but it looks like Summit Burgos was able to maintain.
Looks like Lane was trying to drive there to put Julius on his side, but it did not work in his favor.
And that brings us to the end of the first period, heading into the second period. Both looking to make the first move. And Lane Gokoski shoots for the legs and was able to bring both down.
Lane Gokoski remains in control of that leg, which means that they're still in neutral position because nobody has control, which means no points will be awarded. Lane Gokoski now trying to drive with his head on the mat to flip Julius on his back.
And it seems to be working in Lane's favor if he can keep it up. And it looks like Summit was on his back, was able to hold it, and Lane's trying again to get him once more on his back. Summit was able to roll on his side.
Looks like Julius will get 2 points for a reversal.
And that brings it up to Summit 3, Mount Pleasant 2 for this match. Lane's on the bottom, but is trying to not give any ground to Burgos. And it looks like the wrestlers moved out of bounds. Whistle's blown, and they're moving back to the starting position.
Lane Gokoski now on bottom, and Julius will be riding on top.
already.
Lane Golkowski trying to stand up quickly, but it looks like Julius throws him back down to the mat. Lane trying to get up one more time. It almost gets a reversal.
With the action starting, then the period's just about over. And the clock does run out for the second period.
But it looks like Lane Golkowski got a point for
escape. For an escape. As we head into the third period, it's tied with Mount Pleasant and Summit Academy both being at 3 points. For the referee's position, Lane Golkowski takes bottom while Julius Burgos takes top. And Burgos from Summit was able to keep him down. And a whistle is blown for a penalty, bringing Lane up to 4 points. Summit still at 3. And once more, the referee's position begins. This time, Lane was able to keep up, get onto his feet.
Hopefully Lane can get up quickly or get a reversal. Summit still on top, riding Lane, but it looks like Lane is about to stand up, but it looks like still riding. Julius is still on top, but Lane grabs it and gets a reversal. That is 2 points for Lane Golkowski for Mount Pleasant. That brings the score to Mount Pleasant 7, Summit 3. Lane Golkowski needs to just stay on top and not let Julius come up. Lane trying to get a cradle in, but cannot, but drives it Julius to the mat one last time.
And as they go out of bounds, back to the starting position. Golkowski sits at 7 points. Burgos at 3 with a little less than a minute left in the third period. And we continue on in the third period.
Lane Golkowski now on top. Looks like a point was rewarded. I think it's for technical violation. Lane Golkowski now driving Julius to the ground, holding on to the leg of Julius. Drives him back to the ground again and slams him. Lane trying to stay on top, trying to trip Julius, but
it looks like
that's another point rewarded to Julius from Summit.
And it was a penalty for interlocking hands. Or if he was grasping clothing, I'm not quite sure what he did.
Interlocking hands. Lane Golkowski now has it.
And again, that same penalty was called on Lane.
Looks like Summit wins because he interlocked the hands.
He actually did it 3 times, I believe, within that match, which caused him to be disqualified from the match and Summit taking the win, taking the points. And now we are still continuing on in our lighter weights with Sean Kane from Mount Pleasant going against Joseph Palmer and Summit for the 113 weight class. The team score sits at Mount Pleasant 35, Summit Academy 21. Zach wasn't happy with that one. And our match begins. Looks like Mount Pleasant maintains control and is on top. Was able to get 2 points for a takedown. It is so quiet.
Luke trying to turn his opponent onto his back or at least roll him. Luke grabs underneath the leg for a cradle. Trying to move his opponent, but it looks like his opponent is just laying there.
I accidentally announced Sean Kane. My bad. It's actually Luke Guybick that's wrestling right now, not Sean Kane.
And it looks like Luke Guybick gets his pin.
My apologies to the wrestlers and the listeners. But with that pin, it brings up the score to Mount Pleasant 41, Summit Academy 21.
Numbers 589, 595. Last three, 595.
And our next match in the weight class for 120 continues between Tristan Zawalsh and Philip Morales.
Looks like Tristan Zawalsh is on top, but it looks like Morales is trying to grab the leg and gain control. Tristan gets his 2 points. Tristan Zawalsh now trying to turn his opponent. He has his arm wrapped in, and it looks like he's getting his opponent on his back. Hopefully Tristan can keep that, or at least get back points in the process. Looks like Morales flipped over.
Now less than 1 minute left in the first period, and we're still kind of in the same position with Zawalsh on top.
Looks like Tristan is trying to cross-face, trying to get the under leg, trying to drive him to his back. Morales is not moving, but it looks like Tristan has his opposite position, trying to get a cradle in. He cannot, but still remains on top. Tristan tries another cradle, and the kid flips. Now on his back.
I don't know what Summit Academy was trying to do. Kind of fun to watch, but it did put him in a bad position with Zawalsh on top of him, pushing him down.
Zawalsh just needs to put all of his pressure on his back, but it looks like Morales gets it. But that is 3 points for Tristan.
And that was the end of the first period, heading into the second period now. What? Oh. And for the referee's position, Zawalsh takes bottom, Summit Academy takes top. And a reversal was called and given to Zawalsh. Zawalsh still holding control, keeping Summit down. But Summit does have a hold on his leg.
Tristan still trying to make something happen here. He has his arm underneath. Tristan just needs to drive. Morales is on his back now. Morales still trying to turn the opposite way to get out of this position, and Tristan lets him flip back over, but that will give him three back points.
Tristan seems to be able to get a lot of back points, but not get the full complete pin.
To end the match, Tristan just needs one more takedown or back points.
He just needs one more point, period.
Tristan tries the cradle again, but Morales was too strong for that one. Tristan tries the headlock. Not letting it. Tristan now just trying the drive. Tristan keeps him on his side.
Close to being able to gain back points, just a little more, but it looks like Summit Academy is rolling more on his side.
Tristan just needs to lean a little bit more. At the end of the period, Tristan gets another 3 back points. And that will end the match.
Once more, another win for Mount Pleasant, and the end of that one was 17 points for Zay Walsh, 0 for Summit. Team score.
Next match will be 126. That will be Damian George for Mount Pleasant. And Damian George will end up getting a forfeit because Summit does not have a 126-pounder.
And with that forfeit in our last match, that brings it to 52 Mount Pleasant, Summit 21, and that will be the end of our varsity wrestling match. This does mean that the team did win their first section playoff. Stick around for an interview with the head coach, Zach Snyder, at the end. But once more, Mount Pleasant varsity did claim that win at 52 Mount Pleasant, Summit 21.
Wait, you're going to interview me?
Camera's up here. Ready?
Yeah, sure. I lost my voice.
So we're with head coach of Mount Pleasant Wrestling, Zach Snyder. Zach Snyder, what did you think about tonight's wrestling?
I thought we did really well. We came out, we had a job to do, and we came out and did business, took care of business.
I see you lost your voice in the process.
I had a little bit of a hoarse voice coming into it, but yeah.
What are you going to do moving forward with the team?
Just back to business as usual, just going back to the room, working hard. We're actually on a pretty good roll with practice right now. Plan to just keep on that track, and hopefully things keep rolling.
Well, thank you, and good luck with the rest of your season.
Thanks, guys.
Let me do a sign. And again, that was our varsity Mount Pleasant Vikes wrestling match. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.